the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. And now, more than 6 decades later, Russia claims it holds new answers. U.S. Congresswoman Anna Polina Luna says Moscow is preparing to hand over a 350-page document said to contain the Russian government's findings on the JFK assassination. The Russian ambassador to the United States will personally deliver the documents to her office in Washington, D.C. The Florida Republican wrote that her office will make the files public immediately in collaboration with journalist Jefferson Morley, who has long investigated the Kennedy case. The files, Luna says, were denied to Congress back in the 1990s, but have now been made accessible for the first time in history.
You've got this, document collection. I know I haven't had time to process all of it already, but you've from the Russian ambassador that's possibly on a moment in past U.S.-Russian, really U.S.-Soviet relations during the Cold War regarding the assassination of JFK.
Yeah, so what we know for a fact, and many historical investigators have confirmed this, but Kennedy at the time of the Cold War was actually back channeling peace conversations with the then Soviet leader, president of Russia. And we know now, based on that relationship, that after the assassination, the Soviet government was very concerned because they felt that it was going to be pinned on them, but also too that there went their peace talks, right? And so these documents were specifically the golden ticket for the previous Assassination Review Board that Congress had stood up, and they had actually reached out to the Russian government in the 90s and were denied access to these files. And so I was made aware of them through the research community that exists specifically with JFK. And I actually reached out to the Russian embassy through my official office and requested a meeting. And so for the first time since the 90s, me and 2 other members of Congress were able to meet and request these documents on behalf of the American people. And to our surprise, in an effort to assist President Trump in the declassification efforts pertaining to the assassination of JFK, the government of Russia decided to also release these documents. And so obviously we're being very careful to ensure that these documents are valid, right? But from what we can tell so far, and based on the experts coming in to translate that are native Russian speakers, these documents do appear to be very legitimate and actually have somewhat confirmed some of the documents that have already been declassified out of the CIA. So we are going to be finding a platform to post these on. As you know, with the government shutdown, I tried to contact the National Archives, but they told me that they could not assist in uploading the documents. And so I'm trying to figure out how to best do this. And so I think I'm going to be working with Jefferson Morley at JFK Facts, where they will upload and scan these documents for people to review themselves. But it is in Russian, so I would suggest downloading a translation app. But there's some interesting stuff in there for sure.